Lacey and Sam present the excretory system. The human kidney serves the purpose of excretion and osmoregulation, filtering the blood and also regulating its balance of solute. Blood is brought into the kidney by the renal artery and brought out by the renal vein. The outside layers are the renal cortex and renal medulla. The intersection, called the renal pelvis, collects urine, which is sent to the bladder through the urine. Composition of the blood in the renal artery and renal vein varies. Oxygen levels are high in the artery while they're low in the vein because it is used for cellular respiration by kidney cells. CO2 levels are low in the artery and high in the vein because it's given off by kidney cells in cellular respiration. Urea is high in the artery and low in the vein because it's removed during ultrafiltration. And glucose is slightly high in the artery and slightly low in the vein because it is actively reabsorbed in the proximal convoluted tubule. Urinary tests can be used to detect the presence or absence of molecules in urine. If proteins are present, that indicates the kidney is not functioning at the proper level. If glucose is present, the patient has diabetes. And if urea is not present, the kidney is not functioning effectively. There are 3 kinds of nitrogenous waste excreted by organisms dependent on their amino groups: ammonia, urea, and uric acid. Ammonia provides the least amount of energy and is the most toxic and is excreted by most aquatic animals, including fish. Urea is less toxic and provides slightly more energy and is excreted by mammals such as humans and sharks. Uric acid provides the most energy and is the least toxic and is excreted by birds and insects. Kidney failure can be indicated by symptoms such as swelling or fatigue, or can be indicated in urine tests, which indicate proteins present in the urine or urea not being present in the urine. To solve this, the patient can undergo a kidney transplant or hemodialysis. Hemodialysis is the artificial filtration of the blood to replace lost kidney function and is based upon simple diffusion. Dialysis tubing is run from the patient's arm through a dialysis wash, and the blood runs through the tubing to be filtered. The urea is filtered out of the blood and is then pumped back into the patient's arm. One effective removal method of kidney stones is the ultrasound treatment, which involves ultrasounds being used to generate shock waves which travel through the skin of the patient to hit the dense stones that are too large to exit the kidney, to break them up into tiny sand-like pieces. These then easily pass through the ureter, through the urine, and exit the body. Next is the nephron, the functional unit of the kidney. This is composed of various parts, including the distal convoluted tubule, the proximal convoluted tubule, the descending loop, the ascending loop, the collecting duct, the loop of Henle, the glomerulus, the Bowman's capsule, the afferent arteriole, and the efferent arteriole. The nephron is divided between the cortex and the medulla of the kidney, and a series of important processes occur in this location: selective reabsorption, secretion, and excretion. Selective reabsorption is the active reabsorption of glucose, salts, and amino acids into the blood capillaries, followed by the passive movement of water through osmosis. These particles are pumped actively from the PCT using ATP. Next is secretion, which is the passive process in which toxins are pumped into the tubule to be excreted. Finally, excretion involves urea, salts, water, ammonia, and toxins being excreted from the nephron that eventually leave the body through urine. The difference in solute concentrations in the lower loop of Henle and collecting duct enable hypertonic urine production. Fluid in the medulla is hypertonic to that of the loop of Henle, and water exits to filtrate due to the osmotic movement of water. The descending loop is permeable to water, but not sodium. Meanwhile, the ascending loop is permeable to salts, but not water. Additionally, the hormone ADH, or antidiuretic hormone, acts on the collecting duct, which makes it more permeable to water. Thus, the solute is able to move into the urine and make it more concentrated. Ultrafiltration is the first process, which occurs in the glomerulus and the Bowman's capsule. It allows for material to leave the glomerulus and enter into the Bowman's capsule of the nephron. Blood pressure increases from the afferent to the efferent arterioles, which forces more molecules to enter into the nephron. Additionally, fenestrated capillaries allow for non-selective movement of molecules based solely on size, and podocyte cells surround the capillaries, thus aiding in the stabilizing of cells and assisting in ultrafiltration. Finally, fenestrations in the capillaries as well as the basement membrane that exists in the Bowman's capsule allow for molecules to diffuse quickly from the capillaries into the nephron. Osmoregulators, such as freshwater fish, are organisms which have adaptations that allow them to live in aquatic environments which are not isotonic to their body tissues. They are able to adapt to their uptake of water and salt ions in their food and gills, as well as their osmotic water gain through their skin, through excreting excess water through very diluted urine. Osmoconformers, such as saltwater fish and sharks, maintain a solute concentration in their body tissues, which is isotonic to the surrounding environment. They are able to do this through storing molecules such as urea in their tissues, and by storing these solutes in their tissues, they can maintain this isotonic concentration of solute. Excretion and osmoregulation in insects is carried out in Malpighian tubules, which absorb salts, water, and waste in order to regulate the concentration of these solutes and molecules within the insect's tissues. When the solute concentration of blood is detected as too high by the hypothalamus, ADH is released from the pituitary. ADH, or the antidiuretic hormone, travels to the collecting duct of the nephron, which causes more channels for water to open and facilitates increased water movement. This allows more water to be reabsorbed. When an individual is dehydrated, they can face consequences such as tiredness, inefficiency of muscles, falling blood pressure, and increased heart rate. Additionally, when an individual is overhydrated, they can experience headaches and disruption of nerve function. Thank you for joining us on this unexpected journey through the excretory system.